You're standing at the edge of a lake, the water's edge lapping gently at your feet, but beneath the serene surface, a sinister secret lurks. It's a secret that will drag you down into the darkest depths of human depravity, where the screams of the victims still echo, and the stench of death hangs heavy in the air. You find yourself in the small town of Lake County, where everyone knows each other's names, and the streets are lined with quaint shops and homes. But beneath the idyllic facade, a sense of unease settles in the pit of your stomach. It's a feeling that something is off, that the town is holding its breath in anticipation of the next horrific event. The year is 1995, and a string of mysterious disappearances has the community on edge. The police are stumped, and the locals are whispering about an evil presence lurking in the shadows. As you walk down the main street, the sound of children's laughter and the smell of freshly baked bread wafting from the local bakery fill the air, but you can't shake the feeling that you're being watched. The trees seem to loom over you, casting long, ominous shadows on the ground. You quicken your pace, but the feeling only intensifies. Suddenly, a chill runs down your spine as you hear the distant sound of sirens, and the sky grows dark, as if night is falling in the middle of the day. You're now standing at the edge of the lake, the water's surface reflecting the dark sky above like a mirror. The air is heavy with the scent of decay and death. As you gaze out across the water, you notice a faint ripple disturbing the otherwise glassy surface. Suddenly, a body breaks through the tension, floating to the top with a ghastly slowness. The sound of lapping water against the shore grows louder, and the smell of rotting flesh fills your nostrils. You feel a wave of nausea wash over you as you take in the gruesome sight. The police arrive, and the area is cordoned off, but you can't help but wonder, who is this person, and what led to their untimely demise? As the officers begin to process the scene, you notice a small, almost imperceptible detail, a tiny piece of fabric caught in a nearby bush. It's a clue that will set off a chain reaction of events, leading you down a twisted path of discovery and horror. The sound of cameras clicking and the murmur of hushed conversations fill the air, as the reality of the situation sets in. You're now sitting in a dimly lit interrogation room, the smell of stale coffee and sweat hanging heavy in the air. The suspect, a man with a chilling gaze, sits across from you, his eyes seeming to bore into your very soul. The detective leans forward, his voice low and menacing, as he asks the questions that will determine the fate of the accused. The sound of a ticking clock echoes through the room, and the fluorescent lights above flicker, casting an eerie glow on the proceedings. As the suspect begins to speak, his voice is low and measured, but you sense a hint of nervousness beneath the surface. The detective presses on, his eyes narrowing as he senses a weakness in the suspect's story. You feel a surge of tension as the suspect's alibi begins to unravel, and the truth starts to emerge. But just as you think you're getting close to the truth, the suspect drops a bombshell, a shocking revelation that will turn the entire case on its head. The room falls silent, and the only sound is the soft hum of the air conditioning, as the weight of the suspect's words hangs in the air. You're now standing in a crowded courtroom, the sound of murmuring voices and shuffling papers filling the air. The judge bangs his gavel, and the room falls silent, as the verdict is about to be read. The suspect stands, his eyes fixed on the floor, as the words that will determine his fate are spoken. But just as you think the case is closed, a shocking twist emerges, new evidence that will throw the entire trial into chaos. The room erupts into a frenzy of activity, as lawyers and detectives scramble to make sense of the new information. You feel a sense of disorientation, as the truth you thought you knew is turned on its head. The sound of gasps and whispers fills the air, and the smell of freshly sharpened pencils and paper wafts through the room, as the reality of the situation sets in. As the dust settles, you're left with more questions than answers: what really happened, and who is behind the sinister events that have unfolded. The courtroom doors swing open, and a figure slips in, unnoticed by the chaos, a figure who will change everything. You're now walking through a deserted street, the sound of your footsteps echoing off the buildings. The case is closed, but the impact of the events will be felt for years to come. The town is left to pick up the pieces, and the families of the victims are left to grieve. You feel a sense of sadness and loss, as the reality of the situation sets in. The sky above is a deep, foreboding gray, and the trees seem to loom over you, casting long, ominous shadows on the ground. You quicken your pace, but the feeling of unease only intensifies. Suddenly, you hear the sound of whispers in your ear, the voices of the victims, their words barely audible, but the message clear: justice has been served, but the true horror will never be forgotten. The wind picks up, and the trees creak and groan, as if they too are haunted by the memories of the past. You're now sitting in a quiet room, the only sound being the soft hum of a computer. The case files are spread out before you, and the truth is finally beginning to emerge. The suspect is behind bars, but the questions still linger: what drove them to commit such heinous acts, and can we ever truly be safe? You feel a sense of closure, but also a sense of unease, as you realize that the darkness that lurks within human hearts is always waiting to strike. The screen flickers to life, and the words "case closed" appear, but you know that the true horror will never be fully understood. The room falls silent, and the only sound is the soft ticking of a clock, as the weight of the truth settles in. You're left with a haunting question: what other secrets are lurking in the shadows, waiting to be uncovered? The darkness outside seems to press in, as if it's trying to get closer, to whisper its secrets in your ear. As you finish watching this video, you're left with a haunting question: what other secrets are lurking in the shadows, waiting to be uncovered? Like, comment, and subscribe for more true crime content, and join the discussion in the comments below. But be warned, once you delve into the darkness, there's no turning back. The truth is out there, but are you prepared to face it? The clock is ticking, and the darkness is waiting.